going to hit the high points. We're going to move on pretty quick. That was the hardest part of preparing this presentation, is focusing on what should I cover, what should I not. So I'm going to start with what Google started with. Google Chrome. Google Chrome can be your best friend. It can be a pain. It can be your enemy. It can be your best friend. I'm going to show you how I use it. This is my Chrome. I have apps, I have extensions, and I'll go over what the difference of those are in just a minute. But first of all, I can't stress to you enough about how important it is to sign in to Chrome. I see a lot of you have Windows-based computers. It's important that you do this every time or once, and it should stay that way. But going to the settings on Chrome, on the right-hand side, you put the three little bars. If you're in Chrome, go ahead and do that. And go down to settings. Mine doesn't have it, but on yours it should have it. Since I'm on a Chromebook, it automatically signs me in. It should have a sign-in section right here at the top. If you'll sign in using your SDL or Gmail account, it'll save you a lot of time, and I'm going to show you some tricks you can use if you do that. Once you do it once, it should save it. I am a person, a lot of people come to my school. I teach technology. I'm also Google certified. I am very particular about who I let on my computer for this reason. On Google, you can add accounts, you can remove accounts, things like that. But once you get this sign-in messed up, it really confuses things. My wife's a teacher in Springdale. She tries to use my computer all the time. No, I will not let her sign into my computer.
My daughter and I fight over it on our home computer. If she wants to do something on our home computer, she'll be signed in. I got to sign her out. I got to sign.
It's very annoying.
Yes. Why is this not good? Oh, right.
Is that mostly just so you can get to your drive?
I'm going to show you in just a second.
I'm using an iPad and it's not going into my personal iPad. It's not going into my SDL. So I have to navigate it. Go into my SDL.
You just had to fill in a little form.
Okay, so why am I so important about my Google? I like to do things like this. I have a Chromebook. I have iPads. I have my phone. I have everything with Chrome on it. And this is a cool thing that you can do with Chrome if you're signed in. So I have a desktop at school on my desk, old-timey desktop style. I do a lot of my stuff at school. But when I get home, there's a tab open that I really wish I would have had at home. I can go to my history, the same three dots, and I have all of my devices listed. So if I have a tab open, say on my desktop computer, right here, I can pull those up. They're automatically there for me if you're signed in. That's a cool trick. My phone, this is what I'm on a Chromebook, my MacBook. So I have all my devices there handy for me, so I don't have to mix and match. Now, if I let my wife sign in, all that's gone. It messes it up. Okay, so that's one quick trip. All right, we've heard things about apps and extensions, add-ons, things like that. To me, that's very confusing. What is an app? What is an extension? Because apps typically mean something that runs on your program, right? On your iPad, you download an app, and it's a program that runs. On Chrome, it's different. An app is an extension or a link to something else. It's not actually a program that runs. It's a link to something else. Extensions actually are helpers for programs that you're running. These are my extensions in Chrome. One of them I'm going to talk about in a minute is Googly, which you saw the link shortener that I did on the sign-in. have any questions on Chrome?
Can you say what you said about apps and extensions again?
Okay, an app, typically we think of them as from the App Store, you download a program. That's not really the case on Chrome. When you download an app, it goes into these. So they look the same, but when I click on, say, Pixton for Google, which is going to be a session I'm going to do later, it's Comic Creator, all this app is a link to that website. It doesn't let me do anything else other than give me a quick bookmark to that site. So when I'm downloading apps from the Chrome Web Store, that's really what I'm doing. Padlet, Padlet has both. It has an app and an extension. App is the link to their website. The extension right here, it's very blurry, you can't see it very well. That lets me put things on my Padlet. It's a helper for Padlet from the sites I'm on currently. So an extension is a helper for the site. It's kind of
Do
different.
all apps have extensions?
No.
Okay. But an extension has to have an app to go to be connected with?
Kind of.
Kind of. Okay.
Okay, any other questions on that? Add-ons. I know what the difference in add-ons are. What are add-ons? You typically hear them in the threes. Apps, extensions, and add-ons. Add-ons are within the programs. We'll talk about some of those in a minute.
Let's go back to the code.
The code for the presentation? I'll give it to you in a second.
Oh,
That's not the right one. So what makes Google Apps so great? In the classroom, what are we using Google for so much in the classroom? What do you use? What do you say Google Docs? What do you use Google Docs
word processing.
for? Processing,
Sharing information.
sharing, sharing, collaboration is the key. That's what we're doing the most with Google Apps. That's what makes them so much better, in my opinion, than say Microsoft Word, things like that. They don't have that collaboration aspect to it. So when you share things, where does that happen? What does it mean to share something? If I send it to Maya, if I share something to Maya, how does she get it?
Email.
Drive. Everything, you'll get an email link saying someone shared something with you, and it's just a link to your drive. But where your actual documents live and house, like your hard drive on your computer, is in Drive. Drive is king of the Chromebook. It's where everything goes on the Chromebook, is to your drive. It's where all your information stays.
Derrick has a question.
Question?
What if you're not running a Chromebook and you're running a computer that has its own hard drive? Obviously, they're separate, but
Right.
How does that work?
Okay, I'll show you. This is my drive. I have a lot of things. If I have something on my desktop or on my hard drive on my computer, I can add it where it has both places. It can stay on my hard drive on my computer, or it can go into my drive, or it can be shared. That makes sense? So Drive is just web-based cloud storage. So if it's on your computer, if you don't have your computer like me, I'm on a MacBook, if it's not in my drive, I don't have access to it if it's not on that computer. If you upload all your things into Drive, you have them everywhere on any device.
But it wouldn't be formatting.
Some things. Yes. So if I have a Word document and put it into Google Docs, it is going to change some things. Some features won't convert.
Yeah, it changes it plain. I have an assignment that kids all go, I did type it in the right font, but it doesn't show it in there because Google Docs doesn't have the same fonts as Microsoft Word does. But you can download it into Word and then see it again.
But the great thing is it can do a lot of things that Docs can't. Say, if I have a PDF, there's a way to convert a PDF into a Google Doc where they can actually type on it. Looks a little confusing and a little messy, but it can be done.
Can you access your Google Drive from like somebody else's computer, or
Yes.
you always have to, okay, you don't have to have
If
a
they're
device?
not me, where you can't sign in on my computer. You have to sign into your drive.
Okay.
Okay? So Google's websites all start with what your program are using, and they end in .google.com. So if I'm using Drive, it's drive.google.com.
I have one question. You said you have a Mac and a PC, because my sister just got a Mac. So stuff she had on her Google Drive from her PC, if she signs into Chrome on her Mac, is still there?
Yes, you can get
Okay.
Chrome on Macs. So it's
So
all.
the drive is still okay.
That's a great thing about Drive. So my drive, on the left side it says my drive shared with me. Those are two different things. My drive is what I've created and what I've added to my drive. Shared with me is what somebody sent me. So when your kid's saying, I didn't get it, he shared it with me, but I didn't get it, it's because it's in this folder. It's in the shared with me. I have a lot of things in my drive. These are my folders. You can color code them in Drive. I teach 2 classes, keyboarding and tools for learning. They're color coded, so I can easily access.
Color code.
Yeah,
Oh, you right click on it,
Yeah.
okay.
you can just change the color. I also have lesson plans. Color coded, so I can find those easy because I have a whole bunch of drives. You can share a whole folder with someone the same way you do on a doc. So if I have all of my lesson plans in this folder and I want to send it to someone, say my co-teacher, I click the add people button and they can get my whole folder if I clicked on it. So I want to show you that. Sabra is teaching the same classes I was, Tools Learning, at Sonora. So if I wanted to give her all my files from my Tools Learning class, I can click Add People. And I can share that with her by typing in her email. And you have capabilities here. You can click Edit, Comment, or View. So if you don't want them to actually be able to do much with your stuff, except for look at it, you can go to View, give them viewing capabilities only.
Hey, you might want to tell them that with view, you could make that person can make a copy. I don't know if you're going to do it.
I don't typically go from here, put people's names in there. I like to send links. So I get shareable links. And with here, you have the capabilities on Springdale's websites. They default to only people with Springdale assignments to kind of hide your stuff. You can change that. Clicking the down arrow and click anyone with a link. So the presentations I've done here for you, I've changed them to when anyone with a link can access them. Because not all of us have Springdale websites. You can do public. What really changed me on Google and made me think differently about Google is I stopped thinking about docs and sheets as word processors and started thinking about them as websites, because that's what they are. Everything on Google is a website. So if you want to share on a website, say I wanted to create a Google slide and post it for sharing capabilities or for a quick website, I can do that. I can turn anything in Google into, or it is, a website. Has a URL, has a link to it, you can do that. Do that with it. Since she's no longer teaching Tools Learning, I'm not going to give her access to my Tools Learning
You're
stuff,
not.
so I'm going to cancel that out.
I'm going to do evaluation.
Send it to me, Derek. Seriously.
I'll do it later.
Okay. You got that
Okay.
stuff.
Any questions on Google? Google Drive?
What's the difference between open a copy, download, all of those different things? How do you, which ones become shared, which ones, because like somebody else deletes them, and then they're gone from you. Otherwise, sometimes you get to keep them, and I don't know which one of those you're supposed to do when.
Which one are you talking about?
Well, like when somebody shares when you find something that somebody, like if somebody shared something with me, you can download it, or you can make a copy, or those things, and I don't know which one you're supposed to use. And there are different times when they come up, and I don't know,
All right, let me pull one up.
but
So you're looking at your shared with me folder, and you've got things that someone has shared with you. So if you like it and you want to keep it, the first thing you should do is put it into your drive. It becomes yours by dragging and dropping. So now it's in my drive instead of the shared with me folder. It's there. Okay, so
the author deletes it, it's not gone.
it's yours. No, it's yours. I'm going to show you about making copies and things like that in a minute when we go over Google Docs. But that in everything that's shared with me, if I think it's important, I move it in. There's a lot of things that we get on school faculty emails that's not important to us. Leave it alone. Sixth grade, I'm not a sixth grade math teacher, so when things get shared across our faculty websites that are focused on sixth grade math, I don't need that. So I don't move it into my drive. If it's something that affects me and it's something I need to keep, I'm going to move it in. Okay. We're going to go ahead and create a classroom. Create a classroom. You guys want to go ahead and go to classroom.google.com. I'll have you access my classroom. This is where you're going to find the link to the presentation that you can follow along with me in.
That's why kids do that. I always try to get them to go to the district page and students and classroom, and they just type in, Google.
Yes, if you're on the district website, there is links to all the things on that website. Yes, that's the class code. So let me go. If I'm in Google Classroom, this is the main page. These are my classes I teach. Down here are the classes I'm a student in. Yes.
It says the code for the class is outside my domain. Oops.
Can you go back to the code?
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to do it this way, though. Okay, so here's classroom. The code is going to be under students. It can be here, or it can be in your stream down here. You have the option to change it. Say you get the L's and the I's problem, you can reset your code and it'll give you a new code. There's the code big.
So the teachers that are, if I understand this correctly, I probably don't, but the teachers that are not in Springdale that need to get to this, once you get into the classroom, is there a link there that they could get to?
Okay, Springdale has a closed classroom. It would have to be whitelisted for their school to have access to it, or them to have access to it. I can't allow them to be in my classroom. There's no
Is that
way.
like a firewall thing or something you're talking about?
Yeah,
Yeah, I got you.
sorry.
No, I couldn't figure out
I'll
if
give
it was
you- I'll get
universal,
some.
but it's a firewall. Okay.
Yeah, it's a firewall problem. So,
I'm not
Yep.
seeing your class pull up to, I
Okay.
have to go to add first?
Yep.
Okay,
So,
join class.
on Classroom,
Click join
to add the code, you have to click the plus sign at the top, right? Click join class or create class. If you're wanting to make one for your classroom, you can create your own. It's very quick to create class. Okay, are everybody in the classroom besides you two?
You said that's a 1 or a L? For the yes. It's a 1, okay.
Okay. So originally I was scheduled to do the first session, so I scheduled this post. You can schedule posts to come up at a certain time. I had this scheduled to pop up right about now, so to flow with it, right? But they changed it on me. I didn't know that. But first of all, when I start a class, I can't stand these backgrounds. They're randomly generated. I don't like Google's choices in what they decide for me, so I'm going to change it. So I'm going to ask you guys to do something for me. Can you guys move over to a corner? Just stand up. Leave your devices there. Just take a second.
You want us all in one corner?
Yeah. Unlock.
Here.
Okay. We're going to change it to a picture of us. Make it more personal.
Can you get us on?
Okay.
Hey Derrick, can you put the code up there one more time?
That's a 1, yeah.
Okay, so I've got my folder or my picture that I just took saved. So I want to change this theme or this photo into us. My camera's terrible because my son dropped it and broke my lens, but just so you know. So now that this makes it a little more fun for your kids when they get to open their page and they see themselves. So on my class, it's the first. I do a 12-week rotation class. It's the first thing I do in my class. I'll let you see some of my other classes. They
She
have.
wanted to hold signs with their names because under 12 weeks I can't remember all their names.
So this was a fun one we did. They had a great time with it. It took several times, but we got it. So they really enjoy this aspect of classroom. It makes it a little less work related. Okay. So classroom. How many of you use classroom in your classroom? Like it? Don't like it? Love it?
This year I created a classroom called Combined, because I
Okay.
had 6 class periods and I had one called Google Combined. in that classroom, so when I uploaded my modified test, they didn't know any difference, they were just in this combined class, they didn't think anything of, but they took it looked like the same test, if somebody looked around, but they had the modified test. If I uploaded the vocabulary, they had pictures already put into theirs, and they just had to do the words, and I had to give them sentences, and they had that on there, but everybody else had just, and it was an easy way for me to modify, give them their modified assignment, but without it being, hey, you don't do that one, I need you to do something different, and do it that way. And so I just called it combined, so I had kids from all 6 periods in my combined class.
That's
That's
fantastic.
good, you should go, she was also, she put videos on there for them, like watch a video as part of the test too.
Cool.
Didn't you,
So you
on
can-
some of
yeah.
yours, yeah.
When you use the Google form, so, but yeah, that worked really well. I mean, I don't know, I mean, that just worked well for me because you have so many kids that do need modified, and you don't want to
Make them stand out.
single them out.
Right.
So they're just part of the classroom, and
That's one thing I don't like about Classroom, and I've reported it for it to be changed, is you can't do assignments for specific kids. So if I want to differentiate assignment, I've got kids working on media presentations versus comic creations. I can't differentiate that for the kids. I've already asked them to change that multiple times. They don't really care about me, but we've tried that. So that's one problem I have. I like that solution to that problem. So if we have a students differentiated for a media track, I could do a media track classroom. I like it. Thank you.
So Jill, you just called it combined
I
classroom,
just called it
and
combined.
those kids only joined the
And those
combined
kids
classroom.
joined it, yeah.
Okay.
If I had a student come in, or they were, maybe they were in the ELL 2, I just put them in that combined classroom, and just went on with it.
Okay, so Classroom, I don't use it a whole lot because I do a lot of things in my classroom that I don't grade like you guys do. It's not assignments, the typical assignments. My assignments might take 2 weeks on something that they turn in otherwise, uploading video to YouTube. So I don't use it, Google Classroom as much as I should. But I do want to go over some of the features with it. Like I said earlier, I did schedule this post. I scheduled it for the wrong time. But if you're going through your class and you're teaching classes, I can set it to a specific time to where this pops up, where they don't have to, they don't see it, they don't get notifications, and they don't do your assignment early. So if you want to keep them on pace, you can do that by creating an assignment or question. Either way, let's go over those first before I show you that. So question is what I use the most. It's something that everyone can see. It doesn't have an actual assignment. You just ask a question, you get responses. So if you guys want to go ahead and answer that question, I'll show you how that works.
Another thing that helped me on Google Classroom was, and I'm sure most people like this, you have one class set of textbooks. I went online and got the online version of my class book, my textbook, I teach social studies, and saved each chapter as a PDF. And then I would upload that chapter on my Google Classroom. So if they were at home and they didn't finish their assignment, they could go home and they could actually pull up that chapter on the Google Classroom.
Right.
And I put the glossary on it.
That's exactly how I use it too. Links. Links are the most important thing I use Classroom for. And I've given you one here for later to talk about. So as you're seeing these answers pop up, you can show student responses. I can see them, I can reply to them. You can also reply to each other's. So if you do like having a discussion, you can do it through here by asking questions. Anybody want to comment on anybody else's?
So you have to click on see classmates
Yeah.
answers.
This feature was added not too long ago. This is what I thought was one of their smartest things. It helps me facilitate my class instruction much better than asking questions or creating announcements. Okay, so here's one. Read and write. Who's using read and write? Love it. Love it.
Now, with Chromebooks also, you can use the Control Z and read it to them as well, which they don't have a Chromebook. The read and write works really well.
So you can see through that feature how you can get a good discussion going in class and see where they're at. Assess it very, very easily.
But they can't erase what someone says, can they?
Depends on how you set it up. So I set this one up where you can edit your responses. You can change that for your kids if you don't want them to edit responses. Okay. So adding assignments. So you have an assignment on your Google Drive that you want to give them to complete and turn in. It works the same thing as creating a question. You just go to create assignment. Give it the title, the instructions you want. Due dates. I hate due dates. I hate that it gives them a little red, you didn't do something.
Has to.
I will take an assignment anytime. So I turn due dates off. If you are one that likes due dates, you can leave it on, you can change it, you can set a time. I turn my due dates off. No due date. They can do it whenever. Only because I'm OCD and I don't like the red lines saying someone didn't do something.
And why would it not let me add assignment using the phone?
Because it's his classroom.
Yeah, you can't add
We're
it.
students
Yeah,
in
you
it.
can't.
Because I tried to.
You can add content. If you're on a Windows base, you can add it from your hard drive. You can add it from Google Drive, videos and links. You can add multiple classes. You saw earlier I have a lot of classes. I activated a lot of them so that you guys can see more of them. But with 12 weeks rotation, I have new classes every 12 weeks, so I get a lot of classes through that. You can archive classes so that you no longer see them. But if I want to do all my tools for learning classes at once, save time, I can do that. Make that assignment to 5 different classes at once.
If you archive them, it will save those assignments so you can use them again for the next rotation.
I'm not going to add an assignment right now. I do mostly announcements. Go to this site. We're going to use this website today. Please, this is your link. That's how I use Classroom the most. So, looking back at one of my other classrooms. Here's the difference between assignment, how it looks, and an announcement. They look very similar, but there's no done, not done. Any questions on Classroom? We have 20
So when you
minutes
make
left.
an assignment, can you see who actually read it, or?
So if this person,
I mean, announcement, sorry, when you make an announcement.
yeah. If you make an announcement, you can't see who did it. No.
Okay.
But you can see their graded work. You can see if they started it and didn't turn it in, which happens quite a bit. Just because they didn't hit the turn in button, you can still see their work. It's great for teachers, but it's a feature that I use quite a bit.
I want to say one of the things that I like about Classroom is that I can have another teacher with me. So, like, I can have a co-teacher anytime. And that's, I don't know, I may have just missed that, but that's one of the things that I really like about it. And just being able to put information in there without it having to be an assignment, without having to be in there, just a lot of other information there.
Thank you, Sadie. That was a great lead into what I was just.
Well, I'm sorry.
Okay. So what she was just talking about is where we're headed. I told you I'd give you the link. The link is here under the About section in your classroom. You can do things, the typical what your class is about. You can also add material. So if you have a textbook, you can put your textbook into this materials section. So the kids can go to this and it doesn't clog up your feed. It's always there at the top of the materials section. So here's your presentation from today, which we're not going to get through all of, which is fine. Here's one quick tip that I have for a trick. When you click this link, oh, someone over here click it. Did it work? Did it ask you to make a copy? So if I want to give you this where I force you to make a copy, which is quite often, I don't want students to try and mess with my stuff. So Google will allow you to take out the ending of their URL all the way back to the slash mark where it says edit. You can change all of that to the word copy, and it forces you to make a copy.
Show us that again.
Okay. So I have my original link. Okay, so you see how the link, the website ends in edit, which is what you're doing, allowing uses of. And it has all this extra garbage after that. You can take out everything to the edit line or to the slash, edit to the end, and change it to copy. And anything you share forces them to make a copy of it. They don't have an option. They can't view it until they make a copy.
Does that go into their drive? then?
Yes, it will go into their drive. It's a useful feature to know. Yeah.
Show us when we are co-teaching how to add teacher on there.
Okay. So that's your material section. The About section, the Invite teacher, like Sarah was just talking about, is right here. You can give them editing capabilities on your classroom if you invite certain teachers. It'll be a shared classroom. Okay.
When you do an assignment for a student that's like a Word document or something, make sure when you create the assignment, there's a choice and you want to tell it to make the child a copy. If not, all the kids are going to type the same thing.
Or view only.
Yeah, or view only, either one.
Even if you do say, okay, open it and now make a copy.
Yeah. Well, she was talking about, let me just go through that real quick.
I know while you're doing that, ask, how long did it take you to become a Google certified? Like, how long is it?
He's doing a session or a Google
Oh.
workshop, get you certified tomorrow. or
Okay,
this
Thursday,
week.
Friday.
Next.
Oh, we're sold out. You
Um,
can email me
Sorry.
when they have more sessions coming.
Okay.
If not Conway in the fall,
Conway in the fall.
Is it like
Conway in the
3
fall.
days a week or?
Conway in the fall's 2-day sessions
2 days, okay.
with optional third day.
Okay.
Okay. So what she's talking about is students can view the file, students can edit the file, or make a copy for each student when you're doing this.
So that's not to say that's forcing them to make a
No.
copy.
It just automatically does it for them.
And then it would come up with have their name on it, on the document and everything.
Okay. Google Docs, the most commonly used thing. I'll have a couple minutes left. I do want to cover a couple things in Google Docs that are important for me. Okay. So here's Google Docs. I have, one thing is revision history. You can look at revision history. But I have an add-on that lets me view it in movie format, so it actually shows it live stream how they did it, erasing and all of that. It's called Draftback. That's a good one to get from the Chrome store.
So you can see everything they've done.
It turns it into,
erased
so let me
Okay.
pull up, say, this doc. Reflection I did. I can do Draftback, and it creates me a doc. It actually shows me typing what revisions were made and when. You can pause it. You can, however you want to do it. I like it. I can see what they've done.
Does that work Google Docs and Google Slides?
I think so. I don't know. I think maybe. Let me look. No, just docs. Okay. Another thing, I really like the comment section for teachers, where you can make comments, you highlight, you make a comment. So if I think that I need to redo this sentence here, I can do comment, and I can paste a comment on that particular section of the doc. As a keywording teacher, I can't believe I'm telling you this, but voice typing is very great for docs. With our ELPA test, one of the things that they did was they had a picture and they had to describe the differences through voice. This would allow them to do that on a doc. So you post a picture in there, and you can have them explain it to you verbally, and it'll voice type it for them. So they don't have to worry about typing, they can just talk. It's under tools, yeah.
Oh, that's great. I've got so many kids that can't write, or they can't get thoughts to paper.
Okay, so the research tab is another great one that they've added. If I don't know what about country of Africa, under tools, it's research, and it'll pop up on the side, and it gives you all the features from that right there, web results. But what's great about it is, on these sites, say we don't cite Wikipedia, but it also will produce you a site for copyright reasons that they can go ahead and put in their document. So it preloads it for them into the correct APA format, allows them to just copy it into your doc. So on a research paper that you're doing and they want to use the research tab, they have their citations there for you. It'll automatically put like a 1 beside it, and it'll put a footnote with your site. And you can do different add-ons and create bibliography from there. And all that's under the research tab, under tools tab. I don't have much time, so I'm just going to go through this pretty quickly. I didn't plan on getting to any more than this, but sheets, data, things. I gave you in Classroom, I gave you a link to a random group generator that you can use. looks like this. It's made through Google Sheets. There's lots of these templates out there on the web. You can just search for them and find different templates, what you need. You put in your students, how many groups you want, number in a group, and it'll go ahead and fill it in for you randomly. Easy way to do groups. That's in the classroom for you already. Other great Google apps. Slides, which is what we're using now. I like it for collaboration. So if I give them give you editing capabilities, I could have had you add to this slide. Say, I want you to add to slide number 5 your answer from that question in Google Classroom. I can have you do that here as a group. We can post it from there. Forms, you took a form at the beginning. Sites, all of our Springdale websites are done through Google Sites. Drawings, great for math classes. You can do a lot of things with Google Drawings. Google Keep, a lot of people call it their grocery list. It's an easy way for families to share lists. I'm at the store, I have my phone, I have Google Keep on it. My wife says I need milk, bread, sugar. She can share that grocery list with me. It's handy. Hangouts, I do a lot of Hangouts, video sessions. YouTube, a lot of people don't know that YouTube is Google based. Every Gmail account has their own YouTube channel. So each of you have a YouTube channel that you can add to. Calendar, and of course Gmail.
Is
But
there any kind of app you can add that you can write music? Like you can use,
Not-
create math assignments, music assignments?
not in Google. But last, Google Plus. He was talking about this morning Twitter and how useful that can be. Google Plus is just as important to me in building my knowledge. Springdale plugged in. Springdale Schools has a great one that a lot of people share resources on. Google Educators Group. He's the Joe over here. He runs that for us. Google Apps for Education. They put out a lot of good stuff. Hangouts. You can do Hangouts. Set up Hangouts from people across the world through Google Plus. It's a great resource. What it is it's a kind of Facebook social media hybrid. It allows you to form communities and groups. You can, like, let's look at the GEG. So GEG stands for Google Educators Group. Joe, you want to talk more about it?
Yeah, so basically what this is, if you're looking for a community to kind of get involved with online that people can share resources, Google Educator Group is a good way to do that. It's a good way to kind of get started in Google Plus as well. And for those of you who aren't too familiar with Google Plus, just think of it as kind of a watered down Facebook almost, okay? However, it has more, this one in particular has more focus on professional development and sharing and using resources. Example of how that might work, last week, for example, we had a teacher, I forget where she's at, somewhere else in the state, she posted a question like, how do I solve X, Y, and Z, what do I do? And within probably an hour, she had 3 responses as different add-ons, extensions, things that she can put on there. So, if that's something you're interested in, just join up. It basically just kind of serves as a discussion board, and you can always post questions, find resources on there, and we'll actually be talking about it more tomorrow during Sabra's session in the afternoon, her break, I'm sorry.
Ed Camp starts at 1 till the end of the day, and it's just kind of a reflection session and a get to know more about some things that were canceled and that maybe you just don't know about, conversations that you want to have. So if you have any time at the end of the day tomorrow that you need something extra, stop by anytime. It's not a full 2-hour session. It's just a come in when you can.
Then the other part of that too, Derrick talked about this earlier, but we also post sometimes there's top professional development events that are coming up, especially around related to Google. A lot of that information is posted there. So like the one that we're having at Woodland next week was posted there. Also there'll be more information to come about the one in Conway in November. So.
But you said the Woodland was sold out.
Yeah, the Woodland one sold out, but if that's something that you're
To
interested
be
in,
on a wait list or something?
yeah, email me, or you can contact me on Google Plus, and, if I have your name, I'll kind of put you on the waiting list and get some info to you, so.
Lastly, my information, and sorry I kept you a little bit late, but
So I have to